Hello everyone, this is Greg, aka Crazy G, once again with New England Concert Reviews. Yeah, you got it, I'm here again. This time we have Scotty Anarchy, the lead vocalist from the heavy rock band Crossing Rubicon. Thanks for hitting us up here at NECR. What's up, welcome, and how are things?
How you doing, Greg? I get a kick out of the fact that your name is Crazy and my name is Anarchy, so this should be a very interesting interview.
We can only hope so, right?
Absolutely. We probably could both run for president against each other.
Oh, gee. Nah, let's not even get into that. But listen, Crossing Rubicon is from Bristol, Connecticut, and you guys are a hard rock band. You guys proved to be a worthy adversary in that genre. Can you tell us briefly on how the band came into existence?
Yeah, the band came to existence, God, it was probably like six years ago now. I had been playing in the cover band music scene for a long time. I just personally couldn't stand doing covers. I wanted to play original music. I'm a songwriter first. And I hooked up with a couple of my fellow cover band members, and we started writing some material together. I also hooked up with a guitar player from another band, Red China Blue, and then I started writing some material together. And at the time, I was struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, so a lot of my stuff was written about that. I had doctors telling me that if I didn't stop doing stuff, that I wouldn't be around much longer, so my number one goal was to record an album before I passed on. That was literally the reason behind it, not to sound too cryptic. And eventually, I started really like playing out, and I went sober because I didn't need I didn't need to abuse myself anymore. I kind of liked life because of music again. So we kept going, and then we started to build up more and more of a following, and we decided we were going to try to make a push to make it go professional.
Hey, and I wanted to congratulate you on that. I give you all the credit in the world, and keep on this path, man, because I'll tell you, life is great. It's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do, and it's a challenge.
I will be the first to admit I've failed a couple of times.
Hey.
And there's a couple of times that I went 4.5 years without it, and then I went back for about 6 months, and then I was good for 2.5 years, and I went back for a couple months. I have my ups and downs.
Right.
Sober is definitely the path that I like to be on if possible.
Yeah. No, and listen, you're absolutely right, man, and I can't give enough credit to those who changed their lives and did the right thing, basically, because it is. Good job, and keep it up. Crossing Rubicon's first ever album is called No Less Than Everything, and it came out roughly about a year ago. It definitely sends one back into those days of the epic bands that gave us many incredible hard rock hits. What can you tell us about the making of this album?
Actually, the name says it all. But when we decided to go and do a full-length album, our mindset was we kind of wanted to take songs that kind of we kind of wanted our albums where I would never call it a concept album, but we definitely do have a theme. And the theme to that record was, and to Crossing Rubicon as a whole, is we don't really go after a style of music. We just want to write stuff that's good. If I could write a really great song and it turns out to be a polka song, I'll release it if I think it's good enough. We all come from different musical influences, and so many times, this day and age especially, where it just seems like creativity kind of doesn't work unless it's cookie cutter and overproduced and over-manufactured. We kind of wanted to get away from that and go back to, like, my favorite bands of all time, Queen, Guns N' Roses. You listen to one of their records, and every song sounds like it's almost played by a different band. And nowadays, you buy a record and you buy some modern metal records, it's like the first 5 songs are great, but they all sound very similar. The second 5 songs are all mediocre, and they also sound all very similar. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of like creating the art of crafting an album anymore, and that's kind of what we want to go back to. So when you say a kind of a throwback, that's exactly kind of what we were going for. We kind of like to lay our albums out like, we come in a certain way, and we kind of, every song kind of gives you something a little bit different to listen to.
You're absolutely right. There are some great bands out there that, the first 5 songs, you're absolutely right. The last 5 are mediocre. I have to agree with you on that, because go back to some of those bands back in the day, you hit it right on the head. You wouldn't believe they did all the same songs on one album, and it's pretty amazing. I think music industry has lost that somewhat, as you put it, cookie cutter. Your sound is very similar to some of the legendary artists of the 80s and 90s. It shows more so in the track Unhinged. What can you tell us about that song?
Unhinged? I had kind of a nervous breakdown one day. I wrote the song the next day. I went to rehearsal, came up with the melody and lyrics, and my guitar player Zach came with the guitar parts, and it was like we knew we were writing something that would be releasable as a single with that song. And I kind of like to look at it from a social standpoint that, you know, sometimes everybody needs to go to the beach and lose their shit. That's kind of what that song is about. It's also about, you know, I mean, tough economic times, tough people are struggling, and everybody, you know, somebody loses it, and it's all their fault, but we don't really look at the environment that creates it. That's kind of what that song's about.
I hear you about losing your shit.
Yeah, the whole idea, like, you know, like, I lose my shit and I wake up and my hands are covered in blood and everyone's blaming me for it, but it's like, but you brought me here, you know?
Right. Never Again is also a track that has that unmistakable 80s/90s sound. How did this track come about? What went into that?
We were kind of coming across with Never Again. Actually, it was a lot of the things that kind of give us that crossover 80s and 90s thing. We're coming out with a song that we're thinking, you know, this is a, you know, good, you know, ass in the seat type, you know, radio rock song. But we're like, you know what? We really could put some cool harmonies in that chorus, because that's a requirement of Rubicon. We always do 4-part harmonies. And as soon as we do those harmonies, that's kind of when it brings it to that 80s sound, because there's not a lot of bands that do 4-part harmonies, especially in metal nowadays. It's almost non-existent unless you go to Europe. So that's kind of how that song kind of came to be. You know, it's driving, it's got that guitar part, and then all of a sudden those harmony parts hit the chorus, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Exactly. Another track that grabs my attention is The Fallen. I really like that song a lot. What was the band's concept before you even went into trying to write this song?
Actually, that was, it's funny that you bring that song up. Ironically, we wrote that song almost literally 3 years ago, like today. What happened was, it's a pretty heavy issue. And this day, when we play that song live, I walk off stage and I kind of have to compose myself and come back out. But I had just left my career where I was making a shit ton of money, because we had the opportunity to record this record, and I took a job that I could just kind of do my music and follow through with whatever I could do and whatever. My ex-wife didn't like that very much, so she divorced me. I also had some band members that were kind of like, we can't go professional because we have a house, we have kids, whatever, and they had to leave the band, and so I was kind of in a very dark place. I also had just gotten diagnosed with throat cancer, so it was all like literally within the course of 3 days. Band member leaves my band, my wife divorced me, 2 days later I get throat cancer. It was kind of like a really like, oh my god, I just left everything that I've been working my entire life on just to pursue my music, and this all happened. And at the same time, I had gotten hit up, that was when I had fallen back to drinking. I had gotten hit up by somebody who ran a radio program, and they told me that they had a child who was stage 4 leukemia that was a big fan of Crossing Rubicon, and he would listen to our music all the time. And they asked me if I would do a shout-out spot for their radio program. So I did, sent it over to him. They sent me a video. His name is Joey Shadler. And he was ecstatic to hear my voice, and I called him out by name, that we were all fingers crossed, we're praying for him, and we know he's going to make it. And I told him, I was like, I'd love to talk to this kid at some point. Let me know, whenever we could do like a phone conversation, nothing, just on the side, not in the air or anything. And the next day he passed away. I never got to have that conversation. And it was a moment that kind of reminded me, like, I was kind of a wreck about it at the time too. I was also drinking and partying way too much because I just was miserable with everything else in my life. And it kind of got me back on track with realizing that if my music touched somebody that much, then it does matter to somebody, and that's what makes it all worth it. And ironically enough, we played with Buck Cherry that night. I dedicated my performance to Joey, and also that night, my now wife had asked me out. She had, her and I were friends for a couple of years. She was a musician, I was a musician, and she found out that I was single, and she asked me for my number. So that song is all about how, like, everybody's life is unique, and realistically, anybody could be a hero, and anybody is unique, and we're all, in that way. And it's not necessarily about winning, it's about fighting, getting through things.
It's a great concept. Which artist do you say Crossing Rubicon emulates and or takes from the most?
I would say it's kind of an amalgamation of a couple different things. I would say a combination, like sound-wise, we're a combination of almost like a British-style heavy metal, or an American version like a Queensryche, and then a 90s thing of almost like a Alice in Chains. Those are probably the two. So sound-wise, Queensryche meets Alice in Chains, they had a baby. Lyric-wise, I'm a big Nikki Sixx fan as a lyricist. I kind of like to go with, like, he was the first lyricist that kind of taught me about how, like, if you write stuff about bubblegum and candy and peanuts all the time, no one's going to give a shit. Really dig deep, make yourself out to be the bad guy who's trying to be good, because we all are, and other people can empathize at that. You know, if you sing love songs all the time, no one's going to give a shit. If you sing a song about having an affair, you might raise some eyebrows. That's kind of what he taught me. And then performance-wise, I will fight the rest of my life to try to be as good as a Freddie Mercury, because I'm a huge Queen fan.
Another one we've lost too soon, but, you know, that's part of this process we call life, unfortunately. It is pretty obvious that you draw and blend many styles into your overall sound. Other than the ones you've already mentioned, who are some of your other musical influences? Are there any different genres, like jazz or blues, or...
Well, that's the weird thing. I'm going to throw, like, Misfits out there, too, because I love Japanese punk. I love Michelle Gray's Misfits. But my CD collection in my car is extremely eclectic. I'm a huge Broadway nut, so I'll have Broadway soundtracks, and then I'll have, like, a Hatebreed record in my car, some hardcore stuff, or some 70s punk music, or I do like some classic blues stuff. I'm a huge Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I love Phil Collins. I love Metallica. So, like, my music listening, I'm all over the place, which is probably why Crossing Rubicon's all over the place. And everybody in the band kind of brings some of their own influence, the writing process. You know, my Zach is more of a thrash guy. I am definitely not a thrash guy. We kind of meet halfway in the middle and kind of come up with our sound. I'm all over the place, though. I'm listening to Les Mis soundtrack, and then 15 minutes later, I'm listening to Hatebreed. And then I'm listening to Phil Collins, because I, like, love Phil Collins. Or and usually throughout the course of the day, I'll listen to Queen 3 or 4 times, because I have to.
That's cool, man, because, you know, I'm the same way. I could listen to Frank Sinatra, to Metallica, to, you know, the Grateful Dead, or America. It's just, there's just so much out there that is incredible stuff, and yeah, it's really cool.
You mentioned Frank Sinatra. I'm also a big Bobby Darin fan as well.
Ah, nice. Engelbert Humperdinck?
Oh, God, yes.
Nancy's?
Actually, the first song that my wife and I ever danced together was an Engelbert Humperdinck song. So I always set that out to her as a little bit of a, hey, honey, remember the first song we ever danced to?
Crossing Rubicon has played with some of the biggest names out there. Motley Crue, Bret Michaels, and Tantric, just to name a few. What is it like playing with some of your influences, and what has the ride been like for the band for the past 4 to 5 years?
It's pretty awesome playing with your influences. It's really cool when those influences turn out to be nice people, and it's really disheartening when they turn out to be douchebags. So it's kind of like, I always say, like, never meet your, I don't really idolize anybody, but never meet your influences. I will say that Motley Crue and Bret Michaels have been always awesome. It's kind of surreal. You know, you get into something because you have a heart for it, you know, the last 5 years anyway, and this is what you want to do. And then people actually listen to it, and they like it, and they appreciate it, and you're just shocked, because when it does relate to people, you get a message back, you know, from someone saying, hey, this song really touched me. And I'm like, really? You know, it's, wow, holy crap. I guess people do like this shit. And then, you know, when we get, like, an opportunity to play in front of, like, Motley Crue, who was definitely a huge early influence on me, and we go out and stand on a stage in front of 7,500 people, and we're like, scream for me, and the place erupts. You're like, it's surreal. Like, you're like, I can't believe this is actually happening. But then again, some of my favorite shows, also, like, you get the show where you're playing with Bret Michaels or Motley Crue or Queensryche or whatever, and then you get your show where you're playing with 4 local bands in a club in Connecticut, and there's 200 people there, and they're all fired up and excited. And sometimes that's just as special, you know, because they're actually there to see you and not just see Motley Crue. Also, like, going down, we did a couple weeks ago, we went down to a little run to Florida, and it's cool. Like, we go down there, and there's a great turnout of people, and all these other bands, and there's, like, you walk into the venue, and it might be a little warmer there than it is up here, but you kind of feel like you're at home because those local bands are all there looking out for each other. As surreal as playing with a Motley Crue or a Bret Michaels is, you know, sometimes when I get just as much of a thrill of that when I'm in Connecticut and I'm playing with Diabolus or NCRO. You know, like, you get, like, I don't know, the spectacle of it, but then there's, like, the real local feel and the family of, like, local music scenes. And the benefit for us when we tour, which is probably the most exciting thing about it, is every town we go in, it's a different group of local bands and local music. And that's where, like, the real diversity of music is nowadays. Like, when you're listening to some of these other bands, and it's like, whoa, where did you guys come up with that? Where did you guys come up with this? It's like, there is, like, a lot of creativity out there, and these people are all out there looking out for each other. So that's probably, like, the most amazing thing about it.
And I have to agree with you on that too, because it's not necessarily, don't get me wrong, I I love Motley Crue. I love a lot of the big bands. I would love to go see them. But you're right. I mean, even doing what I'm doing as far as photographing and interviewing and covering shows and this stuff, there is, I don't want to say there's a difference, but there really is in a lot of different aspects, because here you have, even though it's personable on a level where you have this national or worldwide band, I want to say it's different compared to, like you said, the local band scene, where you come in and you're in a small club and you got 4 or 5 different local bands. The feels are the same, but they're different. You know what I mean?
You got people that are fighting the good fight, and then you got people that are up on stage with the king playing the backtracks.
Right. Well, for myself, you kind of can tell. I mean, especially being a fan of said band or artist.
I think Motley Crue is a great live show, and they're a great live band, and they're actually really, they were like really nice people.
Right.
You know, they were all cool guys. Sometimes you open up for a band, you're just kind of like, really? I was on a tour bus one time, and it was on a festival, and the guy was singer in a band that I had known was going out there talking about how he hates doing meet and greets because his fans are all sweaty and gross at festivals, and he hates when they try to shake his hand. And I'm like, not for anything, dude. Those people are paying your salary.
No, and that's a very good point too. You know, and they're very few and far between too. There are not too many really who are like that. Most artists and musicians will take the time because they realize this is their bread and butter. I'm not going to shake their hand. No, of course I'm going to shake their hand because that's, you know, that's who puts food on the table for me.
Absolutely.
You guys, you mentioned you've done some shows. Do you guys have any shows coming up that you want to let us know about?
We don't have a lot of shows lined up right now because we actually just had a cancel tour. We were actually supposed to be in like North Carolina today, but our tour bus had broken down, and we just put a lot of money into it, so we had to postpone for a little while. But we are also going to be doing Camp Caustic May 27th in Syracuse, New York. We are going to be playing some shows in Long Island. We have some shows in Rhode Island coming up. It's all available. You go to our Facebook page or our band website. We'll have all our dates listed. It was like a last-minute tour cancellation, so we're kind of like, we'll pick up a couple shows between now and then and work on the next tour. So hopefully in the summer we'll be on the road again.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's what I'd like to hear. Other than what we've already discussed, is there anything else, and yes, we discussed this a little bit before we actually got into the interview, other than what we've already discussed, is there anything else coming up for Crossing Rubicon, and is there anything else we can expect from the band in the very near future?
Absolutely. Right now we are writing our next record. It's cool because the previous record we had a couple of band members that have been replaced, and we have some new band members. A lot of it was because these people couldn't tour. And getting some of the insight and what these people are bringing to the table, like my wife is our bass player, and our guitar player Mike Coco, they're bringing some more elements to the table, which is going to make the next record hopefully even more diverse than the last one was. And we are looking to be doing some pre-production of this stuff late spring and probably recording throughout the summer and fall, and looking to release that record hopefully next year around this time.
Awesome. Nice. Well, listen, Scotty, I want to take the time right now to say thank you very much for taking your valuable time out to speak with us here at NECR, New England Concert Reviews.
Singer, my time's not that valuable.
Well, hey, you never know, right? I think your time is valuable. If you can take the time out of your schedule during the day to speak to me, then yeah, I find your time very valuable. So
thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Anytime, man. Again, I want to thank you. I wish you the best with everything, man. And I'm blown away by your amazing recovery and your drive to change your life. And man, again, that alone, I give you kudos for. And again, I wish you the best with that. I wish you the best not only with No Less Than Everything, but everything you guys do coming up. Just keep rocking it, man, because I like what I'm hearing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, at this time, again, I want to thank you, Scotty Anarchy, lead vocalist for the band Crossing Rubicon from Bristol, Connecticut. Any plugs you want to give out real quick?
Well, actually, trying to build up local independent bands from all over the country. My wife and I have a promotion company that we started called Anarchy Promotions, so that's something else that we work on as well. And the whole thing is to help touring bands find a place to play in Connecticut, and to help Connecticut bands get out of state more and do more touring. So that's another thing. So Anarchy Promotions.
Ah, nice. Cool. Well, again, I wish you the best with it all. Thank you again, and good luck with everything. And keep rocking, man, because I like your sound a lot.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that.
All right, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon. I'd like to get out and see you guys. I'm right up the road from you, so next time.
Yeah, you're in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, I'm right at the Three Corners.
We might be playing, we play Rhode Island at Fed Music Hall pretty regularly, and we might have some Massachusetts shows up in Northampton coming up very shortly.
Ah, cool. Awesome. Well, I'll be keeping an eye out, and hopefully I'll be able to make it to one of your shows for sure.
Awesome, Greg. Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll hopefully talk to you sometime down the road, and again, all the best, man. Keep on rocking.
Thanks, man.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Scotty Anarchy, lead vocalist for the band Crossing Rubicon. I am Greg, a.k.a. Crazy G, for New England Concert Reviews, and what else can I say? I'll be back. Have a good one. Later.